What's up, people? This is Mr. Marin here. This is the first episode of the Real Talk podcast. Mr. Marin, my boy RB3 here. What's up, brother? How
What's
you
good,
doing?
man? Good to have you, man. Not good to have you, but good to be on this pod with
Yeah,
you.
oh, absolutely. This is gonna be a normal thing. We're gonna try to do it. Every week, every month. We'll figure out the formula to this. What we're trying to do with this is have some real talk, real dialogue. So it's like two brothers. We might have guests on eventually, with time.
Right.
But we're just gonna have real chat about film and give it from a different perspective, because I feel like our voice is often missing in film dialogue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whether it be, black film or just mainstream, anything, you know what I'm saying? We're going to always give our take. Art is open to interpretation and criticism. So, you kind of need different voices at all times to kind of get into the nitty gritty of things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this episode, it's Black History Month.
Yep.
I figured why not kick off the show with the ranking of the greatest black films of all time. Yeah. I put out a poll out there. I know you put it out there too. Mm. I collected a lot of data. It was some interesting choices. Somebody said Norbit. Norbit made it in there. I don't know. It didn't make it far. I say that much. It was only one person that said Norbit. Everybody collected. But I collected some data, and it was pretty interesting. It might be films that you would expect to be on that list, but the ranking of it is what threw me off. I was just like, oh, okay, this might be a little different. So I'm just going to throw some films out there, discuss the ranking, discuss the film briefly, and then at the end, we'll try to figure out, was it ranked properly? Do you think it should be lower or higher? You know what I'm saying?
And these are all from Instagram.
All from Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram, and I did reach out to people on the side too.
Okay.
Because I'm just like, look, like I had a lot on Instagram, but it was like I know too many people. I got a lot. So I sat there, I broke it down. Where's my phone? Here we go. Before I start off with 5, I'm going to bring up the ones that didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? We just see what we think of.
And we're gonna put out our own top 5.
Oh,
right?
of course.
We gotta talk about our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the honorable mentions, there's New Jack City. Need I say more about that? Wesley Snipes, Alan Payne, star-studded cast. You already know about that. Straight Outta Compton made it.
Some Blu-ray roll right there.
It's fitting because we are live in Compton right now. This is very fitting.
Compton, California, baby.
So we got that. Hollywood Shuffle. There was some for Moonlight.
Moonlight. Oh, really?
If Beale
She Could Talk.
Yes.
If Barry Jenkins.
I need to see that one. I didn't see that one yet.
That was my favorite film of that year.
Really?
Yeah.
When it came out, I was too busy, so I didn't get to see that one. Life.
That's a timeless.
That's an all-time Eddie Murphy film. Like, I feel like whenever people talk about Eddie Murphy, they want to talk about the Beverly Hills Cops and 48 Hours. Life always gets left out the shuffle. And we talking Bernie Mac, you know what I'm saying? Miguel A. Nunez, who is a well-known black actor. He does a lot of stuff, and he's really good. He plays not Biscuit. What's the dude that was with Bernie Mac? Spoiler alert: he gets shot.
Oh, man.
I forget his name in the movie.
His name, yeah.
He was good in it. He was good in it. Clockers.
Oh, Spike.
Spike came up a lot, which goes without saying. He's the godfather of modern black cinema.
Absolutely.
So, of course, Spike is going to come up. Death by Temptation. Have you ever seen that movie?
I don't know if I've seen that movie, actually.
Death by Temptation is a Troma film. Troma is the distributor that makes all the B movies, video B movies, horror movies, The Toxic Avenger, and all that stuff. They actually put out this film in 90, I believe it's 90. And it was James Bond III, who plays the geeky, nerdy dude in School Days. He's part of that. Him, he's in that. He stars, directed, wrote it, produced it. Sam Jackson is in it. Bill Nunn is in it. Freddie Jackson is in it.
Really?
Freddie Jackson cameo is in it. This was really good. It's if you didn't know any better, you would have thought it was a Spike film, because there's so many of the same faces from around that time. That's that 40 Acres camp. Them same actors. They're in Death by Temptation. It's basically like a demon. I guess a succubus, a woman that goes to these bars to kill these men, and then James Bond III is like a Christian that moves into Brooklyn and fights her. It's very good. Kadeem Hardison's in it. Sam Jackson is in it.
Yeah,
it's a good
wow,
movie.
You put me on a. Yeah,
we're gonna do a deep dive on that eventually.
Got to.
Eventually. How to Be a Player. That made the list somehow. I mean, that was, cool movie. You know what I'm saying? Boomerang is not in the top 5.
Yeah.
That's an important film for me. So let's get into it. Number 5 on the greatest black films of all time is the 1988 classic Eddie Murphy, Coming to America.
Right.
Not Coming to the number 2 America, the sequel, which was okay.
Yeah.
Coming to America. What's your thoughts on Coming to America?
Man, that's I mean, that's another timeless Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? I think a lot of Eddie's filmography is you can't touch it. It's pretty locked in stone, and I think that one, before there was like a Wakanda, and before there was this idea of like this mythical black nation that we come from, that put that on screen, and it kind of portrayed it in a way that was funny, in a way that was some might consider it insensitive, what I mean, if you're like African, right?
Right. Yeah.
if you're like one of those cultures that kind of like riffing off of. Yeah. But for the most part, it's pretty inoffensive. It's a story that's a romance comedy at the end of the day.
Yes.
And I think we don't have a lot of films that are just purely about black joy, black love, and like about that kind of situation. And I think it was kind of ahead of its time in that way of, it was almost like not weirdly, but it was acknowledging blackness, but like celebrating it too.
Yes.
Before it was like commonplace to do that in cinema.
Yes, and the interesting thing about that film coming out when it did, this is 2 years after She's Gotta Have It, put black cinema on the pulpit, And this is Eddie Murphy, who's hot, fish grease hot Eddie Murphy. We talking,
SNL.
SNL. Just way after SNL, but this is like Beverly Hills Cop. Golden Child on a smaller level.
48 Hours.
48 Hours for sure. Like this is even after Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I think it didn't make more money than the original, but still he was Eddie Murphy, and this is the first little inkling of Eddie Murphy going into all black cast type situation. What throws this one off, and what makes it so different from the Boomerang, which was really like, all black everything, black excellence. What throws this off is that John Landis is directing this one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This film is famous for him and John Landis getting into a physical fight on set. And I think,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know this.
Yeah,
tell me about this.
Yeah, it was something that they got into it on set. And, I think Eddie goes on Arsenio Hall's show maybe a year later and says, not only says that he doesn't want to work with John Landis again, but then he's like, ask Vic, what's the guy's name from Twilight Zone? You know John.
Yeah, he killed that.
He was like, Vic Morrow. He was like, ask Vic Morrow. Oh, Vic Morrow has a better chance of working with John Landis than I do. Mind you, at that time, Vic Morrow was dead, so it was like. Eddie really went for the jugular on that one. You know what I'm saying? But, going back to what you said about it being a romantic comedy, this is the first time. I think this is the first time we really see that from Eddie. I think Eddie, up until that point, is the wisecracking, fast talking. A lot of
cops.
Wisecracking, fast talking, and real asshole jerk. Funny guy, but this is the time we see him fall in love. You know what I'm saying? Played by Sherry Headley, I believe is her name. Arsenio Hall is in it. Sam Jackson is in it. This one is definitely ahead of his time and very timeless. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those you could quote for days. You know what I'm saying? You could sing the she's young. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You could quote this one for days, and this is a classic film. I appreciate the fact that it is in the top 5 because this is one of those very important films, especially for our culture.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we got some comedy representation.
Absolutely.
I don't know what other comedy films are going to have.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Central to a lot of black films is the most memorable ones are comedies because, we deal with the subject matter of being black alone. It could, lead to black trauma, quote unquote, and a lot of things like that. And we often... Historically, we've always kind of gravitated towards comedy to kind of laugh at life a little bit, just to make things a little light. You know what I'm saying? So that's there. Eddie Murphy's Coming to America was number 5. So for number 4 on this list, and this one is a shocker because I didn't expect it to be so low. It's still in the top 5, but it's low. 1989's
Do the Right Thing?
Do the Right Thing.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Number 4.
Number 4. This is considered Spike Lee's magnum opus. Can we agree on that one?
Yeah.
Do the Right Thing. You know, if you don't know about Do the Right Thing, it takes place on one block in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, where things start off calm. You know, it's a hot day. Everybody got their own shit going on. People getting these shoes. You know, Jordan's getting stepped on, whatever. And the film escalates naturally. You know, we all kind of know what happens, but, you know, it's a big riot. You know, Sal's Pizzeria burns down. And this all stems from bugging out wanting black people on the wall. Mm-hmm. Now, I think this is Spike's best script. I don't think it's his best film. I think it is his best script, because if you follow Spike stuff, his scripts tend to be a little heavy-handed. You know, they kind of lose its path, you know, by the time we get halfway to the film. He's heavy on the subplots. So, you know, even with Jungle Fever, you know, you come in thinking it's a film about interracial romance, and you get this whole, which is excellent. That could have been a film on itself about Gator and the whole, you know, Gator being a crackhead and the crack epidemic. And which that alone was an answer to critics from Do the Right Thing that said that this is unrealistic. There's no crack. White critics.
Why would you? Yeah, like,
white. And
you see a black movie with all black cast, and you got to think of the crack.
This is why we are here, my brother. Yeah. This is why we are here, because we all know film criticism prior to the 21st century was very, very white controlled. You know what I'm saying?
How it was. Yeah.
That's how it was. Look at Boomerang. There's a beautiful clip of Eddie Murphy on the Jay Leno show, kind of defending Boomerang, because there's white critics that said there was no white people in this movie. So it can't. This is unreal. This is a fantasy. There's no, like, they were really offended there was no white people in the movie.
Wow.
So same thing. A lot of people complained that there was no crack in this film, which is crazy.
I just think that's just.
But
it's just comical when you just say it out loud.
Yeah. Shit sounds ridiculous, but you know that's where we at with it. So Do the Right Thing. How do you feel about Do the Right Thing?
Do the Right Thing is legit. You know, probably one of my favorite, if not, you know, top 3 favorite movies of all time. It's comical how many times we had to watch it in film school. You know what I mean? Probably like 3 or 4 different classes. We had to like watch Do the Right Thing. I wrote a paper on, which I wrote a very lovely paper on Do the Right Thing, which I'm sure a lot of, you know, black film school people and a lot of people who are general cinema lovers have talked about Do the Right Thing. Is often regarded, like you said, famous Oscar snub. The fact that it only was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, didn't get a Best Picture nomination. Best
Support, and Danny Aiello got Best Supporting nomination, but he lost to Denzel in Glory. When you see that tear,
I mean, that's
it was over. It was over. But yet, Spike didn't get the Best Director or Best Picture.
Yeah,
which happens later on again in his career. Spike is he's an interesting figure in film. I think that, you know, he's very underrated as a filmmaker. I think he gets his love as a filmmaker and for the but in the same token, he's not awarded the love that the Spielbergs get.
Absolutely.
The George Lucas, who, let's be real about George Lucas, man. Like, okay, he gave us Star Wars.
Right.
American Graffiti and Star Wars.
Right. 2 good ones. Those are good.
That was it.
They're cool.
That was it. He didn't give us the best Star Wars movie. I'm sorry. Like, and then he gave us the prequels, which was, you know, depending on what you looking for in a Star Wars film. It could be up or down.
Right.
Yeah, so this one, man, you got Public Enemy, Fight the Power.
Yeah.
Blasting all throughout. I saw this film. I saw Do the Right Thing. This was the summer of 2000. And I remember I was at school and my friend Gilbert, he was like, yeah, I have this movie where this girl does this dance. And he was like, you know, doing the Rosie Perez dance. And we thought that was so funny. I'm like, what movie is this? And he gave me the tape and it was Do the Right Thing, man. I remember it was that moment that I realized I loved film. Like, I knew Jungle Fever I'd seen prior, and I knew I wanted to be an actor. Well, I said that then. I wanted to be an actor. But Do the Right Thing is the film that made me appreciate film and filmmaking, because you have Ernest Dickerson cinematography, which...
gorgeous.
I could watch that movie in the middle of a blizzard and think it's hot. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I said. It was for cinematography.
Okay.
And it was about how they induced this feeling of hotness, and how sometimes they would take the... I forget what those little canisters are that put the heat out underneath the
I know you're talking about.
trays.
I know you're
but
talking
sometimes they'll put those directly underneath the lens to kind of make the asphalt seem like it's heating up, steaming up, like camera effect. Everything from the color, the fact that the wall that we see Robin Harris and all the cats. It's a bright white wall, so it kind of emulates that heat, that red hot feeling. So it's like all these like really clever tricks to, like you said, emulate the heat, the building of the tension that also plays into the story of it, right? Yes. So it's like, it's a really beautiful piece of cinema overall. I think, even at the time, I don't know if you posted that clip or I saw that clip somewhere of Kim, the actress who, even at the Oscars during that
Kim Basinger.
But there is one film missing from this list that deserves to be on it because, ironically, it might tell the biggest truth of all. And that's Do the Right Thing.
And people were upset with her for even doing that.
Yeah.
They were just kind of like, like, what the hell? Like, that she just broke the script to do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, she's absolutely right. And I mean, that's one of those films, man. It's just like...
cinematography, writing, music.
I have a list of perfect films. One of these days, we're going to break down that list. And that's definitely on it. I mean, beat for beat. The film, I watched the film, I don't know how many times, seen it in theater. Theater will elevate any experience. Oh, yeah. And I was glued to it as if it was the first time I was watching it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Spike's best script. In my opinion, not his best film, definitely up there. But best script you got. And then the genius, Do the Right Thing. The genius in the title. You're faced with a situation with Mookie. He just watched his friend being killed. He works for Sal, people that have been good to him, and he's the way it plays out,
right?
And to this day, Spike to this day says that people come up to him and ask, "Why did you do that? Why did Mookie do?" Like, people are really upset that Mookie even threw the trash can into the pizzeria, and then you get hit with them MLK and Malcolm X quotes. Like everything about that film was to create dialogue, and it was perfect. Just a beautiful, beautiful film. One of the greatest film period of all time. Like, forget just black film. Just very important film. Indeed. And this is why it's being taught in schools all over the place.
Yeah, as it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah,
as it should be. Now, number 3 is a tie, and these are. I tried to find ways to break. I even asked more people to break this tie, and
it still got tied.
It still ended up tied.
Right.
2 comedies.
Okay.
You have 1990's House Party.
Okay.
And 1995's Friday.
Now
we are in Compton again. Now I wasn't in the West. I'm a New York dude. If you can't tell from the way I talk, I'm from New York. How was Friday when it hit? Hold on. You might be too young to even remember that.
You're right. So yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't born when Friday came out. Friday came out in 95. I was 97.
I went to go see that film. I remember my grandmother used to work at the Ziegfeld Theater in Manhattan. R.I.P. to the Ziegfeld Theater. And either Casino or Braveheart was showing at the time. I remember I saw it at her theater that day. Then my mom came and picked me up and we went to the Criterion Center in Times Square. It's now a big ass gap. But that's where I saw Friday in theaters. Dr. Dre music video before the movie started.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they played the video before the movie started and everything. So I have vivid memories of Friday. Instant classic.
Yeah.
I know I was like 7 years old when I saw it, but the way my mom was crying in that theater, laughing, that is instant classic. Yeah. Ice Cube. I want to say DJ Pooh helped write the script
DJ
too.
Pooh also helped write, yeah.
Another great script. Perfect script. You get a scenario, a day in the life of Craig and Smokey on one block, a cast of characters: Chris Tucker, Bernie Mac, John Witherspoon,
Nia Long.
Nia Long.
Yeah.
Debo, played by Tiny Lister.
Yeah. From used to stay at my grandma's. He used from my grandma's block. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
man. If we missed anybody, let us know. But
yeah, stack cast. And I gotta say, like, you talk about that West Coast thing. Like, so I didn't see it. I was too young to see it in theaters. But my mom's. She barely sees any movies in theaters.
But she went to see this, and
I'll tell you, like, if in terms of a movie I've probably seen the most, like on pure watch factor of like how many times I've rewatched it, Friday is like easily the top.
Oh yeah,
easily.
Oh yeah,
and it's the top for me because there was a period for probably like every other week my little sister on my dad's side would come over, and me, my mom, and my sister would all watch Friday like every other week, like for almost like a year. Like if not Friday 1 and Friday 2, just literally just the first Friday. Like
I mean, that's all you need to watch.
Yeah.
Granted, next Friday the next, they're cool, but they're not. And I say this, they're entertaining, but they're not good films. Like Friday is a good film,
great film. Yeah,
it's like great beginning to end. Another perfect script. Another perfect film. There's another one on my perfect film list. Yeah. Which again, we're gonna break this down one day. But I have a dope perfect film list, and I mean, Ice Cube wrote the hell out of this one, and he has just one of the. Not only is he a great writer as far as a rapper, but like for him to put together this film the way he did, it's incredible. And
also, my bad. I also want to shout out F. Gray too. You know, what I mean, his directorial debut.
That was.
And that's that's for a director's first movie, and we actually look at a lot of the shots too, like the shot where when they're pulling out of the liquor store, and then we hear the car do the exhaust pop in the back, and you see AJ who went to my mom's high school. That's what I'm saying. Like they got literally everybody from like Compton, South Central. Like you can still go to Craig's house; it's still there. Yeah. So in the block. So it's like it's very very true. But you see homie my neck and my back. Yeah, Ezel. Ezel. You see him running off after he thinks it's like a gunshot. It's like all these like subtle details when Chris Tucker Smokey he's on the angel dust. It's like it's just every single scene is very.
That scene in particular, I remember the movie theater. It was like y'all ever watch Def Comedy Jam and see how Negroes just like they like, that scene when he got high on the angel dust, he was running down the block and it was like sped up. People were going crazy over that scene in theater when it was out. This is like, and like, there's just no experience better than the movie theater experience, man. Especially experiencing something in real time. You're not, this is not a retrospective screening where everybody knows where the jokes is coming. Everybody's laughing harder because they know the joke. This is day one. This is people seeing this movie for the first time, and they were losing it in that theater, especially with that scene. And I'm glad you said that. The little details in the film all throughout, the little things that if you look in the background, you see. It's just this film is hilarious. It is hilarious. You could watch it over and over again. And fun fact, this is Michael Jordan's favorite film.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
This is Michael Jordan's favorite film. I read that somewhere. I want to say Vibe magazine or something. They did a poll, and this is his favorite film.
Dang. Okay.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Now another film filmed or shot out in the West Coast, but I wouldn't say it's a West Coast story. House Party.
Yeah.
House Party. 1990s House Party. We said this, but I've said this before. This is one of the most important teen comedies, American teen comedies. I think this is right there in the conversation with all the classic films like 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, all of that. Like, I know it's hip hop, I get it, but this is one of those ones, man. I think this is one of those ones. It's a very relatable story. You're catching hip hop just as it's becoming mainstream, and I think that's the beautiful thing about that film is you're seeing it it's like lightning in a bottle. You're seeing it happen right before your eyes because we're coming off of it's kind of hip hop is pop now. But it's kind of crazy to think that there was a point in time when people thought it was a fad. People did not see hip hop lasting more.
People like Will Smith, doing the parent rap and stuff. So it's like, you kind of see how.
Even Curtis Blow and them, it's like, it's real corny shit. But now, we talking post 88, hip hop is really becoming a thing. Yo MTV Raps is on TV. Kid and Play got a cartoon after this movie. That goes to show you how they work. They were on top of the world.
Still on HBO Max too, I think.
The movie?
I think the cartoon.
It's on HBO Max.
I think. I mean, I think when I was on.
Do not tell me that because I'll binge watch it right now.
I don't. Maybe I'm tripping. But I think while I went back to watch House Party recently, and then I think under the recommendation, it has some cartoons on the back.
Shout out to HBO Max, man.
But I could be wrong on that. Like, hey, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. But nonetheless, shout out to HBO Max. They do have a good film library. I will say that. Yeah. But House Party, we got Martin Lawrence. This is the first time we've seen Martin Lawrence and Tisha Campbell
in a movie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's crazy too because Martin is one of my favorite shows ever, and
my favorite.
Yeah, and the fact that they had some scenes interacting, but the fact that just that little energy, you know, you can kind of tell like both of them are kind of like like Kid and Play are obviously the stars,
right?
But of the two side characters, like those two are like obviously the standouts. Like the scene when Martin gets left outside with all of his, you know, they took the DJ stuff and to me, just the reaction when Homeboy pulls back in, he's just sitting there, just so distraught. It's hilarious. It kills me every single time.
Yes. It was like, your mom was a bit. Is that no? This is later. This is when he pulls up. It's like Bilal's in the house. The girl's like dragon breath. You know. But shout out to Robin Harris steals this film. Every time Robin Harris is on screen, and I think we see this later with House Party 3. Same thing with Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac does the same thing. They're not in the film, the entire film, but the times that they're on screen, it's like an ISO play in basketball. It's like everybody move out the way. Like let him handle the rock. You know what I'm saying? When he walks into the party and he's just roasting everybody, you know. Yeah. Councilman had no problem for you. Follow the drip. You know, AJ Johnson is there with the Jerry curl. Right. AJ Johnson, he's an extra. You know what I'm saying? Ezell from Friday is an extra in House Party. And then we have the other AJ Johnson that plays Tisha Campbell's friend, Shireen. She looked great, man. That movie, I don't think it aged well. There's one scene that didn't age well, and I think I seen an interview where Kid even mentions it, is when he gets arrested. His whole rap is like kind of homophobic.
You know, that's the time. That was the times. I will say the thing that didn't age as well for me was the goofy cops. Like in general, like it's funny because during this time period we definitely saw a lot of bad cops on film. Obviously, like Boyz in the Hood was a perfect example, and obviously a lot of black movies were starting to demonstrate on screen, you know, the struggle that we deal with in real life, right? But this movie definitely put more of a comedic spin on it, and I definitely did it. I thought in the beginning it was kind of funny, but like every time we kind of cut back to it, I thought, I kind of just wish we could.
Yeah, especially when they get full force and they're like, oh, we're gonna take care of them, you know, but you know they're about to go beat them.
Yeah.
A year later is Rodney King? You know what I'm saying? So. You know, but again, black folks, we gotta laugh to keep from crying. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that that's real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the soundtrack, everything about this film is beautiful. A lot of OGs I've talked to, they're like, yo, when it came out, theaters were like overselling seats. People were sitting on the floor to watch this film.
Really?
Lining up against the wall in theaters to watch this film.
Man, that sounds fun because just the dancing in this movie is like, and the fact, you know, obviously when you make movies, you know, you can't be playing music on set.
This is what I hate most about the remake. The remake should have been its own film. Yeah. Inspired by House Party. You know what I'm saying? That dance scene, like,
oh yeah,
that's where Tinashe comes out of nowhere. Oh girl, is this Tinashe? It's like, wow. And they do this whole choreographed dance. It's like, just some things is just sacrilege. Just leave it alone. Like, you know, but I get it. It's a remake, so they wanted to throw that in there. But that dance scene, and it's iconic. It's iconic if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I did love, but it pops up in the sequel, is the character. You know, it was Groove Be Chill. That was a real rap group at the time. It was the skinny, dark skinned brother, and then the buff brother that was drinking a lot. He's drinking in the kitchen, taking it back to, you know, just trying to put Kid onto some beers. And then when he go to dance, you know, he passes out and stuff like that. And the whole movie, you know, it deals with him being drunk. He pops up in House Party 2. And there's a scene where they're showing a bunch of brothers posted up in the wall, against the wall, and they all passing the 40. And he's there, but he's now a Muslim brother. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to have to pass on that, my brother. See that thing? You know, and he goes to... I love that.
Yeah, his life changed.
Yeah, House Party 2 is one of them films. It's stupid. It's not as good as House Party 1, but it's still entertaining. But no, House Party 1 is the gold standard as far as all of those films go. And as far as teen comedies go, I love it. Yeah. And that was number 3, folks.
Those are three. I mean, actually, yeah, we got 4 movies so far.
Yeah, but you know, three was tied.
3 spots, and you know, 2 Robin Harris appearances. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
From Do the Right Thing and House Party. Yeah.
Yes. Now, for the top 2 black films of all time, We are staying in California.
I
think you know where this is going.
Oh.
1991 feature film debut, the late great John Singleton.
Yes, sir.
Boyz in the Hood. Rob, you take it.
Man, listen. I mean, you already. I've told you this before, John, but Boyz in the Hood is the movie, really the movie that inspired me in so many ways to get into film. Avatar. The Blue People movie, whatever, is what kind of made me want to be a director.
Okay,
but not do directing. We just talked about doing it. But Boyz in the Hood in particular. I saw Boyz in the Hood when I was about 11 years old.
Okay,
and that movie showed me what it felt like to capture an environment, to capture your world. You know what I mean? And my mom has showed me this movie a bunch of times over the years. But reading up on this movie and reading up on John Singleton in particular, a brother who was from South Central, went to USC. This was his first screenplay that he wrote, and he was Lawrence Fishburne's security guard at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he soft pitched the script to Lawrence, like, yo, I got this script, like, and he was just getting
sorry to cut you off. That's often cringe when you on set and you see people do that.
Yeah,
but then when you do hear that success comes from it, it's like, oh shit, like that's really cool. Like I didn't.
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne, I did not know that.
Yeah, and but it's probably one of them things, like he just got out of film school.
He's so small, but then
he is a small dude.
But then Lawrence Fishburne is kind of small too, because I've ran into Lawrence Fishburne before, but John Singleton is small. He was a security guard.
I think so. Yeah, at least I think I might be misremembering that, but I think I read that in like a Variety piece, about that. But yeah, it was but see that, but just having that, just knowing that, hey, like somebody from from where I'm from, relatively South Central Compton, could go to SC. I always wanted to go to SC just because I loved being from this area. Just loved the campus. Could go to SC, go to film school there, and then make a career and make a movie that is not only impactful and important, but also just like entertaining too. Like if you watch before everybody talks about when Morris Chestnut gets shot, when Ricky gets shot. Of course, obviously, but I think if you watch the film up and before that point, it's actually madly entertaining. We get a lot of pockets of different Black culture. We get when they're in the backyard during the barbecue, playing dominoes. We're hoping for that aspiration of Ricky to get that USC scholarship.
Yes.
But at the same time, we're kind of caught up in this romance with Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character. It's like a deeply entertaining, kind of melodramatic, definitely a little bit more melodramatic if you watch it now. But it's a film that's seemingly capturing life, and then the feeling of that life just being snatched away from you in an instant is something that Black people in general have to deal with, let alone in 90s South Central. If my mom's generation will tell you, that the gang life, the act, that was real. What they was doing back then, it's a lot different now. Shout out to Compton, shout out to South Central, shout out to everyone in the hood. Things are a lot different now, but things back then, those are real stories of real Black people in those situations. So, but yeah, it's a great film. One of my favorite movies of all time. So.
Yeah, same here.
It's also on the wall up there. My bad.
All right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, you got the Steelbook. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I saw this as a kid. This film and Menace to Society was what made me afraid of California. I was like, I used to say, I am never going out there. These Negroes are shooting each other. I am never going out there. Shout out to growth, because with time I learned that's not how it is over there. It happens, but
it still is a little bit.
But that's everywhere. Everywhere you got your rough pockets. You know what I'm saying? But I love this film, man. Another great soundtrack.
Yes.
A memorable scene is Cuba rapping to Nia Long, Brandy. While just me and you was playing Tony. I love that record, and it always just takes me back to that scene every time I hear it. Ice Cube film debut.
Yes.
John Singleton famously took him to Cannes when they were screening the film. That one, man, that Ricky scene to this day is hard to watch, because just like you said, you hit on it perfectly. you start to root for him. You start to root for, you know what I'm saying? And I cannot remember how I felt the first time I seen the film because I saw it when I was so young. But I can imagine just being in the theater and seeing that play out. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there was not a dry eye in that theater.
And not to cut you off, but even if you go back and, we talk a lot about how white critics were reacting to, even if you go back and read a lot of those reviews, even white critics were like really crying and really moved by that Ricky moment, and that's what makes it so unique in the fact that like John Singleton was both the first black director nominated for the Oscar for Best Director and the youngest at just 24 when this movie came out.
Crazy when you think about that. Crazy.
So it's just like, it was impactful and it was raw and it was honest, and that's what I think like made it so hard to watch.
Yeah. Even the another scene that gets me just because it's implied. Well, not implied. They tell you. But Ice Cube, that whole last scene with him and Cuba Gooding Jr., where his brother is gone and he's just talking about it, and then for him to walk off, fade, and it's just like he was killed not long after that. Like the film, it's a lot. It's very strong. Honestly, I've seen people over the years kind of downplay it. You know what I'm saying? But I think it might be a regional thing because again, I'm from New York, so there's a lot of people that I've seen will like champion Paid in Full over Boyz in the Hood, and I'm just like, no, like it's
you know
what I'm saying? Like
Paid in Full was good. I definitely I think what some people in retrospective, I could see in retrospective if you watch this movie now, you say like, this movie might be a little bit too sad, a little bit too melodramatic, or something, or you could say, it might be playing into a little bit heavier that black trauma aspect that we were talking about earlier. But I do think, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of entertaining scenes that lead up to that. And I think you go back and watch, the dialogue is so funny, so smart, so quippy. Like the way Cuba, like the way the whole group interacts with each other. The homie in the wheelchair, just their dialogue, their back and forth. When they're in the car, how they're talking about, is God a woman, and they're kind of having that whole dialogue. Yeah. And then like if God was a big, it's just like all these lines that you just wouldn't expect, but it's just great, genuine writing too.
I love the him lying about sleeping with the chick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Me and my grandmother, because we had the VHS, we used to watch that, and my grandmother was like, he's lying. He's like, because I didn't understand. I was too young. I thought the scene was just playing out as it happened. But when you get older and you realize, and then it cuts back to Lawrence Fishburne kind of looking at him like, Negro, please. You know what I'm saying? I love moments like that, and like you said, it was a very strong script. Everything about it, it's a really, really good movie.
I'll say like John Singleton's signature to me is his dialogue. And I think if, when you watch this movie and you watch, Baby Boy, I think to me, the stories are always strong, but to me the dialogue is what like really makes it stand out and really makes it that extra naturalistic feel. And that's why you get a debut actor like Ice Cube for somebody like a rap, I don't want to downplay, rappers going into the acting thing, but we've seen it 100 times and 99 times it doesn't work. But I think the reason it works with Cube is because the dialogue was a custom fit to him. I think every character was written with, kind of a person in mind, Angela Bassett, playing Cuba Gooding's mother and that. It's like every actor, every performance was just fine-tuned, really specific, really carefully, and placed and plotted.
John Singleton is incredibly lucky. He got Angela Bassett before she became Angela Bassett.
Yeah. No, really.
We're like 2 years away from What's Love Got to Do with It, which is insane to think about. Like, that's one hell of a debut film. He got lucky, man. That shout out to John Singleton again. Rest in peace. One of our greats. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a shame that people didn't really appreciate his films after Boyz in the Hood. I feel like Poetic Justice and Higher Learning, and it's definitely Rosewood, a lot of them were just nitpicked to hell. Like it's just like, I feel like these, of course Boyz in the Hood is the cream of the crop, but these films are also good in its own way, very entertaining. What you said about the dialogue being a signature, you might be absolutely right. I'm thinking, as you're saying, I'm thinking about scenes of Poetic Justice where they, Joe Torre and Tupac is just going at it. I'm like, yo, you might be right. I like his tension. When there's tension in a John Singleton film, you can feel that shit. Like the minute there's a scene in Boyz in the Hood where the music just like boom, and it just kind of zooms in on Regina King in High Learning when she gets called a bitch by the white boy on the phone, and it's just like, yo, tension in his films are just amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. It works well. And definitely, he was the youngest and the first African American director to be nominated for Best Director. That's crazy. One hell of a debut. But you heard the films. Let's go through the films one more time. So we started at number 5 with Coming to America. Followed that up with Do the Right Thing. Again, that was too low for me, but I'll take it. There was a tie with House Party and Friday. And then number 2 is Boyz in the Hood. And for number 1, the greatest black film of all time. Rob, do you have a film in mind?
I mean, I feel like there's one that hasn't been named yet that I feel like maybe should be named. So.
And I'm going to tell you, Spike Lee's Malcolm X, 1992. The greatest film of all time, in my opinion. Black, white, red, green, don't matter. Greatest film of all time. I am born in 1988. You know, I saw Malcolm X when it came out. This is before I saw Orson Welles, Citizen Kane. Yeah. This is before I saw all the films is considered the greatest of all time. This is before I saw that. This one takes the cake for me. I think Spike, who's also my favorite filmmaker of all time, he speaks directly to me. A lot of, I was there in the early 90s. Now, I wasn't outside per se, but I was there for a lot of what was happening in the early 90s. So he embodies all of that. He was the voice for black folks at that point. You know what I'm saying? Especially black film. Like I said, he's the godfather of modern black cinema. Man, let's go back. The film was in development for a long time, going back to the 70s. I think, I want to say Richard Pryor had something to do with it at one point. I think he was like, I think it was like being shopped with him in mind.
Really?
Yeah, at one point.
I can't see that.
Yeah, of course. And then, it started to pick up steam throughout the 80s. At this point, Malcolm's image, as with all things, in the moment, is kind of, Malcolm was seen as the bad guy in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? And when he goes, and unfortunately, when somebody passes, that's when people go back and like, oh, he was actually all right. They was actually all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by the 80s, again, the rise of hip hop, a lot of these people, the young people at the time, they're growing up learning about Malcolm X. He's being name-checked in songs by Public Enemy, X-Clan. Malcolm's stature is rising, all while Spike Lee is in Brooklyn starting his career with She's Gotta Have It, School Days, Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues. Around Mo Better Blues, it comes out that the Malcolm X film is going to get made, but it's going to be directed by Norman Jewison. Norman Jewison directed a Soldier Story starring Denzel, and I believe Richard Attenborough directed Cry Freedom with Denzel playing Steve Biko. Norman Jewison did something else, but his stature as a filmmaker was up there.
Fiddler in the Roof.
So
the theater kids out there, that's my theater background, is Fiddler in the Roof. Norman Jewison.
So here comes Spike. Does something very ballsy. And Spike, listen, man, we love Spike, but that brother loved the camera and loved the microphone around that time because he used to always speak up on everything. Yeah, now he kind of speaks when he has to now. Yeah. And I think with time he learned that he can't speak up on everything. Yeah. But he comes out and he's like, look, with all due respect, you are not the man for this job. Ballsy.
You gotta tell him.
Yeah, and by doing that, he throws his name in the hat, which is crazy. That's very. But we all moved by something to do stuff. And I think that was God at play. Because he does that, the powers that be goes, here, fine. You wanted to be a loud one? I think Norman Jewison back off.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him, and he was like, all right, like, I don't want to, like, I'm not going to step on Spike Lee. Because you're right, that context of the time, you can't get the man who did Do the Right Thing, and you can't not let him do Malcolm X.
Yeah.
That's you're talking about missing out on the best golden opportunity to tell one of the greatest stories ever told.
And he steps up, Norman Jewison backs off, and Spike goes in. Now when Spike becomes a director, you got opposition from people that know Malcolm because you've seen She's Gotta Have It, School Days. You thinking, oh, this man is a farce. Well, them. This man is a farce. That generation of black folks, they're not really understanding the hip hop generation. All this, y'all shaking y'all butts and doing the butt, and then she's got to have it. She got multiple partners. It's irresponsible. This is in the day of AIDS. She's got to have it. It's coming out. So this is all seen as irresponsible, and he takes it on. He takes on the criticism. Denzel Washington, who played Malcolm in an off-Broadway play, takes on Malcolm in this film. As they're making the film, Warner Brothers wanted to cut. They didn't want it to be 3 hours. They didn't. It was going out. It was going beyond the budget. They wanted him to shoot the Egypt scenes in the Jersey Shore.
Bro.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is all. There's a book. I'm passing on to you, brother. There's a book about the making of that film. Spike is writing in a journal, and he's telling all of these things as it's happening.
Wow.
Very good book, by the way. Yeah, so the film runs out of money in post-production. Bond Company comes in and is like, yo, it's done. It's in the can. We almost didn't see Malcolm X, y'all.
Wow.
But
it was already shot, too.
Yeah, shot, and we almost didn't see it. But Spike reached out to prominent black folks. Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey, Prince, Janet Jackson, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. And they all pulled up together to get the money to finish the film. And we got the film we got today. And that was his moment at bat to show improve, and he exceeded far beyond expectations. That film, another one, perfect, beginning to end. That 3.5 hours. You know what's so crazy? The movie is like almost 3.5 hours. I have comfort films that I could watch. I could watch anytime, all day, every day. Pootie Tang, stupid shit that I could watch all day, every day that I could just throw on and let it play. Malcolm X is one of those. I remember, I'll never forget, when I first got cable that had like East Coast, West Coast channels, Malcolm X came on HBO East, and I watched the film all the way through. And I said, yo, I'm going to HBO West. I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah,
6 hours of Malcolm. Like that was the day I said, yo, this is my favorite film. I could watch, some films that are too heavy, you can only watch once in a while, and no, I could watch this any and every day. Denzel Washington, man,
best performance, this is maybe of all time.
This is the greatest of all time. I think this makes him my favorite actor of all time. You got on a to a lesser degree, you got Angela Bassett right beside him, who does what she does.
She comes about halfway through the film.
Yeah, she does what she does as Betty Shabazz. Incredible. The music, the Terrence Blanchard, that score. Oh man, it's like a damn superhero. Like you know what I'm saying?
And not to cut you off, but that scene when Malcolm leads all the brothers to the hospital, and they're standing outside, and he gives that simple. Like
the hand gesture,
and the music just cuts out. It's just, bro, oh my, the whole, the march, the everything, the editing, everything about that scene and that movie is perfect.
Yes, that scene right there. He said it's too much power for one man to have. Like, that one, oh man, that's the one. That's another one where the film is structured so perfectly. It's like. With biopics, and and this falls victim to it too. You can't tell the entire story. There's but so much story you can tell.
Right.
And I know some people that don't like this movie because they're like, oh, it didn't talk about this and didn't talk about that. And it's just like, it gave us 3.5 hours. It gave us what it can with 3.5 hours. But it's structured perfectly. You get Malcolm as Detroit Red.
Yep.
You get him in prison, and you're really seeing the evolution of a man. Like this is a film. This is one of those rare biopics that like it almost works just as good as a history book. Like you know what I'm saying. You could show that you want to learn about Malcolm X, watch this film. And you can't do that with every film.
That's what's interesting. No, I was just gonna say too, because I've been listening to the audiobook of the autobiography of Malcolm X over the past few weeks.
That changed my life. That book changed my life.
Yeah, I haven't. That's my. So I haven't read the book before. So I'm like listening to it, and I'm gonna read it eventually. But
don't do like LeBron. Read that.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. Yeah, I can't be listening. But it's funny how accurate, not accurate, but how close to of an interpretation of the story is.
I read the book for the first time in 8th grade, and as I'm reading, I'm like, "Oh shit, this is the movie." You know what I'm saying? Like, to even Malcolm's narration is taken straight from the book, so it's so close to it. Like I said, it's just as good as a textbook, man. And And again, you're watching his evolution in these 3.5 hours. You're getting to know Malcolm. And you get the dread in your stomach when you know what is about to happen. Mm-hmm. When you get that double dolly shot of him with the Sam Cooke playing one of the greatest shots in film. Yeah. Probably Spike's best use of the double dolly shot. Mm-hmm. You know what's about to happen. Mm-hmm. I just went to the 30th anniversary screening with my daughter. Mm-hmm. And she's watching the film because my daughter's a little cinephile in the making. She likes movies.
Hey,
9 years old. She could sit through a 3-hour movie. I took her to go see Avatar. She loved every minute of it.
Really?
Stayed up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Listen,
there's adults who can't stay up for 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, man, and she didn't know what was coming up. Mm-hmm. I knew. Mm-hmm. And she asked me a question. I went to go answer, and I had a pit in my throat. I was about to start crying. I'm like, oh, this is about to happen. Like, you feel the weight of the loss of Malcolm, man. That shit cuts like a knife every time. That and the Ricky scene is 2 scenes that, to this day, I'm bawling like a child when I see it. Especially the beautiful eulogy by Ossie Davis, which was actually delivered at his funeral.
Really?
Yeah, word for word. That's the actual eulogy he delivered at his funeral.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Incredible film.
And then that beautiful eulogy, and then to cap it off with all the kids.
Which has a young John David Washington.
Really?
The first kid that pops in, I'm Malcolm X. That's John David Washington, who ends up becoming a lead in BlacKkKlansman.
Wow. Oh, full circle. That's full circle. Damn, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's, again, every aspect about this movie, like you mentioned, is just so... It's intentional. Mm-hmm. I think they set out to tell a story that was, that gave you the ups and downs of Malcolm's life. So you get a full character of film, a full picture of him, not as, just the media figure, the person, who's an aspirational figure, but as a person, as a man.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but let me just make something very clear about Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. And this might have some expletives. If you're not a fan of cursing, I apologize. Motherfucking director of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Was it Dan Schnart? Okay, folks, if you don't know, the director of Everything Everywhere All at Once, what did you feel about that? This is not a pylon, by the way, but what did you feel about his film? I thought it was okay.
You thought it was okay? I liked Everything Everywhere. I liked the movie.
It was aight. He does the Criterion closet, goes into the closet, pulls out Malcolm X, and calls it his favorite crime movie.
That was crazy. That's crazy.
Let me tell you something, folks. The Untouchables is a crime film.
Right.
Heat is a crime film.
Clockers
is a crime film. Mm-hmm. Set It Off is a crime film.
Right.
Malcolm X is not a motherfucking crime film.
Never. No.
Let's get that straight. Let's be... Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, but this goes to show you how they see our art at surface level. Yeah. Because I'm going through the comments on Twitter, and there's people saying, "Oh, it devotes time to him being a hustler as Detroit Red, and the way Spike sequenced the scenes was similar to Goodfellas, which could probably be true." But what is the overall message of the film? This is a biopic. This is this man's life. It is not a crime. They only see us at surface level with anything. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you could be the most liberal white person ever. You could be the most conservative. You still, there's moments where they fall into that trap. Mm-hmm. It's like LeBron James speaking up on social issues and somebody says, "Shut up and dribble." They only see him as an athlete.
Right.
He has no voice beyond that.
Right.
So with this film, They saw the crime. They saw the whimsical moments. Right. Him chasing the white woman.
They saw the scene of him doing the Cagney impression in the park. Yeah. And
they call it a crime film.
Right.
That was so disgusting, and it's just bullshit. It's offensive almost. You know what I'm saying? I seen somebody in the comments like, "This is kind of racist. This is like passively racist."
Definitely racially motivated. I think the funniest part about the clip is it's obviously the two directors. The white dude, he's the one talking about the Malcolm X thing, and you see the Asian dude in the background. He kind of literally chuckles like when he says that. I'm like, yo, even his co-director's like, "Come on, bro." Yeah. Really, I feel like he wants to turn around.
It was such a shitty take. That's just such a bad take. Like, Malcolm X is his favorite crime films. Give me a
and again, I think I liked Everything Everywhere. I like those guys, but I think obviously it's just a problem with, I think, the way we talk about black cinema.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because we have, he calls it a crime film. You know, he says he only saw it last year. He in the same clip he says he only saw Malcolm X for the first time last year. So it's like what's kind of what I only am led to assume. I don't know the guy. Maybe he's a good dude. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? But I think like what the clip literally read to me is like, oh man, this dude might have saw this movie during Black Lives Matter, and then was like,
speak on it.
Yeah, I'm bored. Like I didn't watch the rest. Like I only watched the first hour and a half. Like turned the rest of it off. Like probably just watched it until he got out of jail, and then when he started doing the conversion thing, probably tuned out. And that's honestly what, for a lot of people, that's honestly how far they get into Malcolm X.
Yeah.
For some people, that's literally the first hour and a half, which is madly entertaining. I definitely give you that. But they don't get to the part where it's the Reformation. They don't get to the part where he takes the pilgrimage. They don't get to the part where he is, just the whole back half of the film is so much more moving. They see the part where he curses out the little white girl on the not curses out, but he's like, oh, like, nah, I don't need your help. Like, they see that and they're like, oh, that makes white people frankly uncomfortable. You know what I mean? But then they don't. So then when it gets to the parts of the movie where it's Malcolm X's journey as a leader, and we starts to find out everything about not Farrakhan. Elijah Muhammad. There we go, Elijah. I'm messing up names bad today. I was just a little nervous. But yeah, it's like when we get into that part of the journey, it's not a crime. It's just not. It's life. It's a film about life.
Why would those words come out your mouth?
Yeah.
At that point, it is not a crime. Like you said, some people, he probably just saw that first hour and a half.
Yeah.
And left it alone. So it's just ignorance on his behalf. It's just a very ignorant statement. I hope he says something about it, but then again, you know how they move. They don't care.
Yeah, they're probably not going.
They say what they say, and you gotta live with it. Meanwhile, we gotta apologize for the shit. I'm not gonna go into that, people. But, Malcolm X, man. Spike talks about going to see Lawrence of Arabia with Ernest Dickerson, and that whole Egypt, Mecca. To date,
that's beautiful.
That's the only film that was allowed to be filmed on the grounds.
Really?
Yeah, so he had to get a whole second unit full of Muslims
to
go and shoot that. Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's sacred ground. So, that's the only film to date, one and only film to be shot at the Mecca.
Wow.
This film had everything across, it checks all the marks for me across the board. And, of course, it came with a little controversy when it came out. Spike telling kids, don't go to school, go see this.
Right.
Which, could rub people the wrong way, even though I agree with it.
I agree. This is cool because they're not teaching this in history class.
Absolutely.
And that's to me was the most fascinating part when I first watched Malcolm X, when I was, a teenager. It was all new. It was all new information. I didn't know he had the lifestyle he lived. I didn't know he went to prison. I didn't know all of that. I just knew, he was a civil rights leader who, made some people mad. That's literally all I knew. So, but then watching this movie gave me a new perspective, not just on, again, him as a leader, but as a person, seeing the goals that him and his family, him and Angela and what black people, like all this, like the conditions that he's around, like when he is walking down the street and he sees like somebody who from the community, like, asking them for what, I'm getting the scene wrong when he's like exiting the apartment building and then he sees like one of his, I forgot that scene. No. The girl who he goes on a date with is like she's like tricking, right? Or she's like
Laura played by Teresa Randall. She plays Laura in the beginning of the film. The good girl that was at the whole Lindy Hop scene with it.
Yeah.
Another beautiful. Spike loves musicals.
Yeah.
And you could tell by the school days and this one, he wants to make a musical.
Right.
Bad as hell. Like a song and dance musical. And that whole Lindy Hop scene is basically that. So he's going out with Laura. She's a good girl, Christian girl. Dips off with the white girl. Does his thing with the white girl. And then we get Laura again. Which
later.
That scene, Elise Neal is in that scene in the background. She plays one of these prostitutes, or a young Elise Neal. And we get Laura, and she's tricking by that at that point. Which is, look, man, this film is it. This is it.
It's just like those details that you wouldn't even notice, and most biopic directors, you know, just kind of zoom through, like, you know, no disrespect to the Whitney Houston movie, like,
I gotta see that.
It's a good movie. It's fun, but they definitely, it's like the Wikipedia version of her life. It's like they only gave you like half of her Super Bowl performance. You know what I mean?
And you know, and to that point, you know, Malcolm X is the reason why I can't enjoy biopic films today. Because this is the definitive one. This is the one that, like, it takes its time. Granted, again, it omits some things from his life, but it still takes its time to dealing with the things it wants to deal with. And it doesn't stray from it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people at the time was upset that Spike was going to show Malcolm frolicking with white women and doing drugs and stuff like that. But it goes there.
Right.
It does not run from that. And yeah, man, this is the one. This is the one. And hey, that's voted the greatest black film of all time. I'm on board with that. Now, with our top 5, let me know. Is there any you would change? What you would add? Let me know.
Our top 5, I like that's a strong top 5. You know what I mean? I think that's as strong as of the top 5 you're gonna get. I would personally probably throw something a little more modern in there. Like, I'll probably throw Get Out in there. You know, or Get Out, or I know Moonlight was on honorable mentions too. But those two are I don't know, but that's the thing. I don't know what I'll take out. You know what I mean? Out of those 5, you know, that's a strong 5 right there.
Yeah, it's a strong 5. Get Out might be 5 for me. I might start off with Get Out, then take it to House Party at number 4.
Okay.
Number 3.
You gotta put Boomerang. I know you're talking about Boomerang. It's not on your list, not on your top 5. Or?
You know what? Get Out, House Party, Boyz in the Hood.
Boyz in the Hood, okay.
And I'm rounding out the top 2 Spike joints, Malcolm X and Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing being number 2, Malcolm X being number 1. That's my top 5. You know, Get Out being number 5, oof. Damn. Yeah. I think that it's a strong top 5.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I'm going with, because if I want to go, it's just like your GOAT list in sports. What is it that you're looking for? If I'm looking for quality and I'm looking for groundbreaking, like my top 5 in basketball, it deals with groundbreaking shit. Like, you know, eye test, of course, but whoever was really doing it. Like I always say, you know, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem, LeBron, and Mike. You know what I'm saying? Man, if you look at each, they broke ground, or they would, you know, they kind of moved the goalposts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for my top 5, I think that's where I'm gonna go, because Get Out is another one hell of a debut.
Yeah. And
then the way it influenced modern horror today. You know what I'm saying? That we kind of dip into social issues a little bit. And I remember when I seen that they announced that they was gonna do a Get Out, and everybody was just laughing. I remember it hit Twitter. Everybody was kind of like, a film about, you know, a man is like, look who's talking, but horror? What? Right. I saw the genius in it already. I was like, if this brother knows what he's doing, he'll do it right. And he, that's another one of those ones. So yeah, definitely Get Out, House Party, because I think that's just an important film. Boyz in the Hood, Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X.
That's your 5?
That's my 5.
That's your 5. I'll probably, if I had to go like my 5 too, I'll probably I think I probably might switch Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X on mine. So I'll probably put Do the Right Thing number 1. I'll probably put Malcolm X in my number 2.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then probably put Friday as my number 3.
Yep.
Just because I love that movie.
Yeah,
even more than Boyz in the Hood. You know what I mean? And
really?
I think Boyz in the Hood is you know, favorite. And like I said, it's one of the movies that really inspired my path towards filmmaking. The way I, you know, went to USC and things. But yeah, I Friday's just too funny to me. You know what I mean? And then probably 5. I'll probably go to strong Get Out, because that one is. It's, to me, it's the combination of horror and comedy. And also, you know, I think it's the fact that it was so low budget. You know, $2.6 million. It's like,
really, it was that cheap?
Yeah. Wow. The massive constraints, right? Like next to no money, but then it still doesn't, like, you can't even tell. It doesn't even feel like that. Yeah. I that's one of the movies that I definitely vividly remember my theatrical experiences. I saw it twice.
Same here.
Yeah. First time I saw it, Weird Enough was at a white theater at the ArcLight Hollywood.
Same here.
And it was
that
funny.
shit was like that. Get Out coming out was like a social experiment for me. Because I saw it in Jersey. I saw both of them in Jersey. I was in Jersey that weekend. I saw it at a white theater in the mall, and then I saw it with a bunch of colored folks, black and brown
Yeah,
folks.
same way I do.
And of course, the first viewing, white people was laughing. One scene that really showed me how disconnected they were was the scene at the end after, you know, the dude that got his shit all mixed up, he kills himself, you know, the white girl's dead, and the cop car pulls up.
Yeah.
In the white theater, they're like, oh, look at that. Oh, my God. Oh.
Right.
And in the black theater, they were like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, audibly, everybody was like, oh, shit. Because that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
This is the genius of... Jordan Peele is a master. He's officially on that list. After Nope, he's officially on that list. And the emotions he captures with just that image alone, like, oh shit, now a cop car's pulling up. In the wake of the Mike Brown and all that stuff that's happened, the Black Lives Matter movement, seeing it in 2 theaters was really a social experiment. I'm so glad I had the foresight to do that because I saw it the first time. I was like, yo, this was really good. And with the first friend that said it didn't see it, I was like, yo, I'm going with you today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I knew what theater I was going to go to and everything. I was like, nah, I got to see this for myself. Right. I did that to myself. I wanted to experience that. You know what I'm saying?
Now, shout out, same here. Shout out Baldwin Hills Screnshaw Mall here in LA.
Is Baldwin Hills movie theater still black owned?
It's a Cinemark now. It's
Cinemark.
Okay. Yeah. So it's owned by a company. But I don't know. It might still be franchised by Magic.
It used to be black owned.
It was Magic's. Yeah, it was Magic's. So
that was Magic's theater.
Yeah. That was Magic Johnson's original spot. And that was I could talk all day about Magic Johnson theater back in the day. Boy, I saw some movies there. But yeah, that was it. I loved how I love seeing it there because right there also at that time too was like I was at USC, so I got to take like some white people from USC to see it with me too. You know what I mean? And Baldwin Hills Crenshaw is the closest theater to USC. A lot of people don't realize that, but a lot of people from USC don't realize that that's really the hood. So then like when I take them to see movies there, they're like, oh shoot. So seeing their reaction amongst all the black and brown people, like you said, reacting to certain scenes, like doing that, it was all around just perfect, man. This movie is Get Out. You know, that it would make my top 5. It's another one that as soon as it came out, it almost immediately entered the film school lexicon of like movies, important black movies. Also, you know, won mad Oscars and awards. But you know, I too think that if they had, you know, if we just looking at our list, like Friday House, I think House Party might be Reginald Helly's first film, right?
Yes,
it is. Yeah, and
it's based on a student film.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, see, Hudley, Singleton, all these F. Gary Gray for Friday. All these first-time filmmakers literally just putting their all into these crazy Get Out. All these first-time movies, debut movies. It's just like, to me, it's inspirational. Yes. To me, it's just like, yo, let me get cooking right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a story to tell.
Absolutely. The black experience, the black stories, you know, there's plenty. And, you know, I saw a tweet the other day. Somebody said they listed Lena Waithe, Tyler Perry, Kenya Barris, and there was a fourth one there. Lee Daniels.
Yeah.
And they said, these 4 need to never make a movie again. And listen, I know how we feel about their art.
All right.
Trust me, I have criticism of at least 3 of them. Kenya Barris is okay.
I like Kenya, yeah.
You know, but I definitely got a thing to say about Tyler, Lena, and Lee Daniels. But I think that it's important that they all get a chance to tell their stories. We should never try to silence them because, as we know, black people are not a monolith.
Yes.
There's many different shades of black folks, and there's many stories to tell. Medea, yes, it's a little off-putting at times, absolutely. But you know what? Go talk to somebody from Alabama, Atlanta, Mississippi. Everybody knows they have a big mama that they know is just like Medea. They love these films, these stories, you know? Lena Waithe, again, I don't think she can write a film, but do you know what I'm saying? But she speaks to a specific crowd. There's people that enjoy stuff. I often criticize Queen and Slim for being a Twitter. I feel like it's a black Twitter script.
Right.
But again, because you see that on there, it speaks to a crowd. You know what I'm saying? So I think we should all let everybody tell their stories. Everybody has different perspectives. We should never muzzle black voices, because while you're doing that, you're doing the devil's work. Because please believe, when you go into these, you go into these offices, you be around these people that move and shake and greenlight stuff. They're looking for the one black thing that's either hot at the moment or they're reaching for. You know what I'm saying? We've seen with Hollywood Shuffle, when he's going on these auditions, they're looking for the Eddie Murphy type. Right now they're looking for the Kevin Hart type. So you never want to fall into these tropes. You know what I'm saying? So we should all give our filmmakers and our black creatives, just let them run the gamut. Let them do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't want to rock with it, that's okay. That's art. Art is to be critiqued. You don't have to rock with everything. If you don't like it, don't support it. It's okay. But let them do what they got to do.
Yeah, it's perfectly said. Eloquently said.
Now, that's it.
Wow.
That's
the first episode,
First
man.
episode, we ended on a strong note. You know what I'm saying? I have to send y'all home with a little something. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
Think about that, my brothers and sisters. Think about that. RB3, is there anything you want to sign off with?
Nah, man. If you're watching on YouTube, you might be watching on the First Cut YouTube channel. Make sure you leave us a comment. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you're listening to this on the audio, share the podcast. We're available on Apple, Spotify, all the podcast networks. So help us out and get us shown there.
Yeah, I would love to do this more and more. This is something I'm very passionate about. Again, thank you, RB3. This brother right here has helped me kind of get everything in line. You know what I'm saying? I knew this was an idea I had 10, 15 years ago, before podcasts and all this stuff was a thing. You know what I'm saying? I thought that, I got to make it to TV to talk about this stuff. Well, look, we can do this now. You're listening to it. Check us out, Real Talk Film Society on IG. That's REEL Talk Film Society. On Twitter, we're now verified.
Oh, shoot.
Real Talk Film SOC. Real, REEL Talk Film SOC. Follow. We're going to have more of these coming. I'm going to have my quick take reviews. We're going to be posting retrospectives, celebrating black cinema. We'll also be talking about other mainstream films, because we're just giving our perspective on everything film. Yeah. So thank you for listening. I'm Mr. Marin signing out. See you later.